Gavin Newsom just gave his final State of the State address, and I watched the whole damn thing, every single minute. 50 minutes of my life that I'll never get back. And I'm furious, because what I just watched was the most delusional, tone-deaf, out-of-touch speech I've ever seen from a California politician. And that's saying something. The man stood up in Sacramento while your gas prices are the highest in the nation, while your insurance premiums are through the roof, and your neighbors are fleeing the state. And he had the audacity to tell you California is thriving. So I started digging, and in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how Gavin Newsom lied to your face. Every claim, every stat, every piece of propaganda. Let's go. Before we even get to Newsom, let's talk about how the speaker opened this thing up. He called for a moment of silence, not for the 31 Californians who died in the LA fires, not for some crime victims, not for the families destroyed by fentanyl.
A moment of silence to honor Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen murdered by ICE yesterday in Minneapolis, and for the countless immigrants who have been detained, who have been denied due process.
He called out a moment of silence for an ICE detainee. That's who California legislature chose to honor, not the firefighters who risked their lives, not the families who lost everything in the Palisades and Altadena. An ICE detainee. This tells you everything you need to know about where Sacramento's priorities actually are. Your suffering, they don't care. Their politics, that's all that matters. And Newsom sat there and nodded along. Remember that. Now let's get to Newsom. He loves this talking point.
No state, simply no state in America that contributes more, none, to the American greatness. No state builds more ladders to success or sees around more corners. The biggest manufacturing economy constructed here. The most productive agricultural economy grown here.
World's fourth largest economy. First of all, we're actually fifth now. Japan passed us back in October 2025, about yesterday. But let's talk about this fourth largest economy thing. You know what they don't tell you? California's total government debt, state and local combined, is over $1 trillion. Let me say that again if you didn't hear me. $1 trillion. That works out to about $27,000 for every man, woman, and child in California. $27,000 that you owe for every member of your family. You strip out that debt, and we're not the fourth largest. We're basically a glorified Zimbabwe with better weather. GDP means nothing when your state is drowning in debt. GDP, or gross domestic product, means nothing when families can't afford groceries. GDP means nothing when your middle class is being crushed. But Newsom, he doesn't want to talk about that. He wants to brag about GDP while you can't afford a gallon of gas.
Early data shows, and this is the important number, unsheltered homeless, that the number of unsheltered homeless in California dropped almost double digits, 9% last year in 2025. It dropped in the state of California. First time in over a decade and a half that we can lay claim to that.
Did you hear that? Newsom is bragging about a 9% decrease in unsheltered homelessness. Let me put this in perspective for you. Since 2019, California has spent $24 billion on homelessness. $24 billion. And in that same period, homelessness increased by 30,000 people. We went from about 151,000 people homeless to over 187,000. So we spent $24 billion and we got more homeless people. Let me do the math for you. If we take that $24 billion divided by the original 151,000 homeless, that's roughly $160,000 per homeless person. For that money, we could have bought each of them a house. We could have given them a down payment on a condo. Instead, we have more homeless people than when we started. And Newsom is up there bragging about a 9% decrease in 1 year. After spending $24 billion and making the problem worse, the state auditor, his own auditor, released a report saying California has no idea if these programs are even working. They don't track outcomes. They don't measure results. They just keep throwing your money at the problem. And then Newsom has the nerve to say no more excuses to the counties.
So I say this with love and respect to the counties. No more excuses. It's time to bring people off the streets and out of encampments and into housing and treatment. No more excuses.
How about no more excuses from you, Mr. Governor? You spent $24 billion of our money and made it worse. That's not success. That's fraud.
We're also laying tracks. Laying tracks in the nation's first high-speed rail system. You want to do well in the future, you got to invest in the future. We want a 21st century transportation network. Full environmental clearance is done. We built over 50 major structures. More than 60 miles of guideway have been completed, ready for immediate track lane in the Central Valley.
Oh, and this is my favorite part. Newsom actually stood up there and bragged about the high-speed rail. Let me tell you the real story. In 2008, California voters approved this project. The promise, LA to San Francisco in under 3 hours. The cost, $33 billion. The completion date, 2020. It's now 2026. The current cost estimates are $128 billion. That's almost 4 times the original budget. And how much track have we actually laid? 0. Zilch. Nada. No miles of high-speed track. That's right. Actually, 0. We have 70 miles of guideway completed. That's basically roadbed. But actual track where a train could run at high speed, none. 17 years, $15 billion spent, 0 high-speed track, and he's up there bragging about laying tracks. What tracks, Gavin? Where are the tracks? Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy just pulled $4 billion in federal funding. He's calling it what it is, a train to nowhere. Bakersfield to Merced. That's what you're getting for $128 billion. Bakersfield to Merced. Nobody asked for a train from Bakersfield to Merced. We were promised LA to San Francisco. The 2008 ballot measure said Los Angeles to San Francisco by 2020 for $33 billion. Instead,